Rolling.
ME. As usual, our thanks go out. Welcome to the bleeding edge of IP communications. This is the VUC. We're located at vuc.me. As usual, our thanks go out to Simwood.com. Simwood can turn any developer into a telco. Our hosted telephony is from onsip.com. Where would we be without zipdx.com for our wideband full-featured audio conferencing system? The VUC.me website is on bluehost.com. And our local rate dial-ins are from voxbone.com. Sounds like a .com revolution to me. So here's one more, tadsummit.com. For 2014, it's going to be in Istanbul. You should go check that out. For a 30% discount on registration, use FOVUC. Okay, very cool. I'm getting some hum from somebody here, and I wonder who that is. I ask you all to check that. This is the VUC 510 on 10/10/2014. We're pleased to have the guys from Telus Tech with us, or Mobicent, if you know that name better. Live is good, according to our friend Andy, so that's great. We are here, we are all gathered here, ladies and gentlemen, today to introduce you to Mr. John Sine, who's going to take it over. He's going to do a killer demo. And let's make sure that we don't have any of that hum in there. I don't know where that is coming from, but we'll be very vigilant on that. John, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can introduce yourself and whatever else you have to say. John, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate everybody making the Google Hangout. Can everybody see me all right? Can everybody hear me all right?
And we can hear you.
Okay, can you see me?
We can see you, Tommy.
So I'm sharing my screen, correct?
No, now we see you.
All right.
One toggle on that click.
All right, here we go. All right. Listen, my name is John Sine with Telus Tech, and you know what I'm going to do today is this is going to be a presentation about Telus Tech's Restcomm, and it's going to be towards web developers. What Telus Tech wants to do is that we want to enable web developers to be able to design sophisticated interactive communications applications without the knowledge of such communications protocols like SIP, VoIP, STUN, TURN, ICE, etc. What we want to do is we want to let web developers utilize what they know, which is HTTP, RESTful, database, PHP, Java, everything that they utilize every day to create applications that will help them drive revenue, just not be there selling bandwidth, because all we know is selling bandwidth today is just a race to the bottom. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to present several different scenarios utilizing Restcomm for the Internet of Things. I'm going to give a little brief tutorial on that, and using Restcomm to build a database-driven IVR application utilizing a remote desktop hosted at Red Hat Cloud. So for the next thing is that for the Internet of Things, this is a slide that just came from the IoT conference, and what I want everybody to notice is that they are saying that this is going to be the whole eco environment, but notice that they have Mobisense down there as the main communications platform. I'm pretty proud of that. People are recognizing what Mobisense can do for them. A couple of things that you see there is that you see things such as this SECE, the glue for the Internet app. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What we're seeing is your desktop, and we're not seeing the slides, unfortunately, and that's important.
All right, hang on then. Hang on.
Okay.
Every good magician has a backup, right?
This is always a little bit difficult too, because it looked like there was a hope there for a second. Okay,
all right, just a second. Let me do this then. Here, just hang on.
There is a special mode, and I'll be darned if I didn't make a note of what.
You know what's going to happen now? John's logo is going to pop up.
James, do you remember what? There's a way to do this.
Can you see that?
Back screen. No, we're seeing you now.
We're seeing you now.
You have
All
to,
right.
when you do the screen share, you have to select the screen. But there is a presentation mode that works, and then there's one that gives your control view. When we say bleeding edge, that's what we're talking about, folks. This kind of thing.
If you go back to the view that you were in before, the one that gave us the desktop.
Okay. Now, can you see this? Can everybody see that now?
That's it. That's it.
All right. Sorry, folks. All right. Technical difficulties. All right. What you see here, this is a slide that came out of the IoT conference that was last week. I'll tell you guys how to download this thing because you're going to be utilizing, or IoT is going to become part of your life here very shortly. And you know, the IoT, what I like to call it, is really the network world. And if you take a look at this slide, one thing you want to see is that the most important part for me is MobiSense right there. MobiSense is really going to be the glue for the IoT, because what's going to happen sooner or later with all this Internet of Things things that somebody's going to have to communicate to a human, or maybe even to another device, what's going on, what has happened, state changes. So you know, where they're going to be doing it by SMS, they're going to be doing it from email, they're going to be doing it by an auto call into somebody. But you notice everything that all the devices have to talk somewhere, which is pointed at MobiSense, Restcomm, through gateways. They go through this SECE, which is right now they're sorting that out. SECE stands for Secure Electronic Commerce Environment, to go out to all the different applications out there. And you see these things right here, they're called PIDF-LOs. What those stand for is Present Informational Format Location Object. This is going to be a new subclassification, really, that's going to point out where things are and the other information need for location. And then the last thing, I guess, this RPID, that's going to be for remote party identification. So really, the Internet of Things that we're seeing about, or the network world, you know, if you draw halfway down the slide, all the devices are going to have to be able to communicate with something, so that they can go out and tell people what's going on with that device. You know, whether it's going to be by voicemail, SMS, whatever, email, and MobiSense can do that for you right now. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to attempt to share the screen again. And tell me, does everybody see this right now?
We see a slide, but I think it's the same slide you were on before.
All right, here, let me go in and...
we're still seeing the SECE glue.
All right, let me go in here and...
This must be great for those people on ZipDX. and on ILC.
If you're listening on ZipDX, you can go to live.vuc.me and watch the video, which unfortunately is not in sync. It's about a minute behind, but if you do want to watch the slides, that would be the best way to go.
Yeah, and it has to be fed. This was a slide taken from an excellent presentation from our old friend Henning Schultzring, who is probably one of the brightest people on the planet right now.
He was on VUC 500, let's remember.
He was, number 500.
Yep.
We were honored to have him, just as we're honored to have John now. That's getting there.
Are you guys seeing my screen?
We are seeing your screen.
We are, but...
Oh,
Can you see that screen now?
Yes, we have your electric imp screen.
All right, thank you. Sorry. What you're seeing right now, this is a company called Electronic Imp. And what this is they sell a device that is a Wi-Fi enabled device. It looks like a little SD card. And what they do is that they have the ability that it has a GPIO bus on it. You know, if it has the ability to do I2S. And what this does is that you utilize these devices to go and control.
There's a lot of stuff going on. So just don't hear.
Would somebody please mute themselves? Thank you. And what you see right here is this is their actual IDE. And you see there's really three parts of it. The device itself, which is just a little SD card that's located locally. Over on the left-hand side, you have what's called their agent, and that's located in the cloud that does all their heavy lifting. What I do on the right-hand side is that I have my little bit of script here. That they have a language called Squirrel that's set up so that whenever I push a button on my device over here, it comes back and it shows in the log what's happening. On the left-hand side is my agent, and this is up in the cloud, and what we've done is that we've set up a routine so it sends out an SMS message whenever the device is reloaded. That might be, you could set it up to do anything, like when the button's pressed or certain conditions change, so forth. It'll go ahead and send it out. And what I'm going to do is clear the log. I'm going to build it and run it again. And what you're going to see is that immediately what happened is the agent went and sent out an SMS message to me on my cell phone number, and it basically says, hello from my agent, the cat is out of the door. And I don't think I need to go ahead and here, just a second. All right, can everybody see that now?
Get it focused.
All right, yeah, I have to wait here just a second. See, so there it is. The text came on my phone. Hello, from my agent, a cat is out the door. So what we've done is that we've got the Internet of Things talking. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in to Restcomm. Any questions out there?
John, can you actually show the device, because we didn't see it in the beginning?
All right, here we go. I'll show you the device.
We're seeing your screen.
All right. This is the device right here.
Thank you.
And what you do is that this is the IMP card. This is their interface board with the pins on it that control all the I/O. It is both USB driven and battery driven. It's pretty sophisticated what you can do. And then what you have is that this talks to their cloud where the agent is. So, what I have this set up with is this one with a little button on it that I press to get things going on it. Question, anybody?
So the green button is what generates the SMS to your phone?
Yes, right. And what I do is I set it up so when it reloads, it does it. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the desktop with Restcomm.
So from the device over Wi-Fi, it triggered an event to the cloud version of the agents from Electric Imp, and from there it triggered a call out to Restcomm, which sent the SMS to your phone.
Right, and what we're allowed to do is that, here's an example is that, a lot of times we send out from the command line, we use curl, space -x, capital X, post. What it does with the IMP language, though, is that it takes away the curl command and it just generates the RESTful statement directly. So not only could we generate an SMS message, but we could set it up so that we could send an email. We could say that we could play a recording, call somebody to play a recording. We could take that and take that message, put it into Restcomm, put it into a queue, say that's a notifier when it's a maintenance event. And then what we could do is that we could set it up, send out the proper emails to the people or call them, see when they respond, give them 5 minutes. If not, go to the second person that's responsible for it. So what you do is that you go ahead and assign really, who, what, where, and when, how that gets resolved so that you have responsibility throughout. Because one of the things the Internet of Things is going to do is that, what happens if, there's something that's malfunctioning, who's going to be notified, what steps, who's going to be responsible. You can do all that all with Restcomm. All right, what we have here, everybody can see my screen all right?
We're seeing the dashboard still. Is that what you want?
Yes, that's what I want you to see is the dashboard. Okay, so everybody sees their dashboard. What this is the Restcomm login. And what you see up here is the dashboard. You have your account SID, you have your authentication token right there. And what you have the dashboard, numbers, logs, visual designer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into the visual designer, right into the ABC Auto application.
And John, now we're switching context, right? This new application is completely separate from the one that you demoed earlier with the IoT device?
Correct. This is a whole new one. I just want to show that we are IoT enabled, and now what I'm doing is that we're going into the application development. And what this is, what you're seeing, we're going to see is that you're going to see an application that was built to be for an automobile repair shop. And how the flow will go is that a customer can call in, they can set an appointment day, and they tell what kind of car is going to be brought in. Then what they'll be able to do is query it, call in and query if their car is done. And then what we're going to see is how an administrator or the mechanic, whatever one he's done, will be able to go in, set it up, send a SMS message telling the person the car is done and how much it is. And what we're going to go through is the steps that was made to create it, the scripts and so forth. So what I'm going to do now is go to my Restcomm Visual Designer tab, and what you see here is this is our ABC Auto. And what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to go through this and let you hear it. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. Somebody saw my number during the last demo, and now they're sending me SMS messages right now. Stop that. I have to keep a straight face. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let you hear the call flow, and then what we'll do is we'll go through this right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call. All right. That's operator error right there, guys. You guys did know my telephone PCAP.
Welcome to ABC Auto Repair. To schedule an appointment, press 1. To check your car status, press 2. For admin, press 3.
All right, what I'm going to do is press 1.
Appointment days menu. For appointment on Monday, press 1. For appointment on Tuesday, press 2. For appointment on Wednesday, press 3. Select your car brand from the list. Ferrari, press 1. BMW, press 2. Audi, press 3. Enter your 10-digit phone number, press star. You have an appointment at ABC Auto on Wednesday for your Audi. Your appointment phone number is 314-303-5173. You may hang up or press 1 to go back to the main menu.
Okay, so now I just hung up. So now that person's made the appointment. And what they've done is that they've gone through their welcome module, get available day, choose day, enter the phone number, validate, confirm, and then we got the car brand, choose the car, status, everything. So what we've done is that they are entered into the system now. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to be the administrator, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to say that that car is ready for repair now. It's repaired to contact the person. So I'm going to go do that again.
Welcome to ABC Auto Repair. To schedule an appointment, press 1. To check your car status, press 2. For admin, press 3.
I'm going to the admin menu.
Enter your 4-digit admin password and press star. Enter customer's phone number and press star. If car has been repaired, press 1. Enter the cost of the car repaired and press star. ABC Auto Repair. Your Audi is ready and the total cost of repair is $951.
All right. Now, what I've done is that the mechanic said the car's ready. And what's going to happen right now is that very shortly is that on my telephone I will receive the SMS message that is programmed to go out to the person. So what I can do if that the person doesn't have an SMS enabled number, they can call back in.
Welcome to ABC Auto Repair. To schedule an appointment, press 1. To check your car status, press 2. Please enter your phone number and press star. Welcome back. Your car status is repaired. The cost will be $951.
All right, so I went through and as a customer, I put the, I made the appointment, and then what I did is I went and as administrator, I said the car is fixed, put in the amount. I was sent my SMS message, and then as a consumer, maybe I don't have an SMS enabled number. I went and I dialed in the system. I found out my car is repaired and how much it is. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step you through everything. Now, one thing to remember right now is that the logic for this, for Restcomm, it's in our cloud. This is hosted on an Amazon AMI instance of Restcomm, but the database is hosted on the Red Cloud developer. And what it does is our first one is our welcome module you start out with. This is our prompt. This is what we do. We're collecting digits. And then our target. Our targets are the next available module, are our modules up here. So we got get available day, car status, admin get password, validation. All right. So what I'm going to do now is that this is our menu. So I'm going to go and say get available day. We'll go to the next one, get available day. And notice right here, you see that we're in the Red Cloud, Red Hat in our cloud, and that's where we have our PHP scripts. And what we're going to do is we're going to assign variables to it, available days. It's going to be a module. And then what this is what our RVD variable is going to be named so we can utilize it. Make a routing decision. You have the ability then that it could be fixed, dynamic, or mapped, and what we're doing is going to be fixed. And after this, what we're going to do is we're going to go to choose day, which is the next one. We go through, notice that we have the variable there, available days, continue on to get the car brand, so forth. So we have the ability then to really route. We can use multiple databases. You don't have to have just one database. So you have the ability that you can take your information and you can reach it, utilize it to create an application, hopefully to help you drive revenue. Any questions out there?
I do have a question, John. It's a pretty general one, which is that in all these apps, is it possible to replace the text-to-speech with actual recordings if you have them?
If you take a look down on your lower left-hand part where you have the cursor, right, you can put your own audio there. It's a WAV file, and just a standard 16-bit one. And what we're doing now, we are using a voice synthesizer or whatever, text-to-speech.
Yeah, I was thinking what would be great would be you develop the app with the text-to-speech, and when you're happy with it, you go to maybe human voice if that's,
Allison.
Or whoever. But yeah, thank you, John.
All right. Now, one thing about the text-to-speech, though, you have the ability, you can set it to male or female, whatever you want to set it at, that sort of thing.
I know there's variables in there, but I assume that you could play the wave and then have the variable some people do that where the all right, annex question. Can the variable play a single word? In other words, the variable's days, so obviously you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on recorded as well. Would that be possible? A little complicated.
Yes, but once again, it's breaking it out how you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice that, what we have here really is that you have, as a web developer, all right, that what you do is that this is written in PHP. You know what you're trying to do,
mm-hmm.
and really what you're doing is that you're taking Restcomm and you're integrating it in with your PHP code, and the PHP code is then going in to do all your pulling all your database sets out. So what we're doing here, if you look at it, really this is something that you notice you don't see anything that says VoIP, SIP, stun, tune.
Right.
What we're seeing right now is you're seeing things like HTTP, database, PHP. You don't have to utilize PHP. You can use Java. You can use straight C calls. All the APIs are there to utilize it. But what we're doing is that we're doing it with a visual designing aid. And you take a look at it over here. These are the verbs you use: play, say, collect, dial, hang up, external services, reject, redirect, pause, SMS, record, fax. And what you do is you take these, you pull them down into your application to collect. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to collect my numbers and so forth. Then everything from when I have it down here for external services, pull it out into the database. So what you do is you have a toolbox here that is very easy to understand as far as building the voice applications, and then we open it up for a web developer to use the external web services they can do. And what this is a very high, it is a visual designer, but that doesn't stop a web developer, if they know RESTful statements and so forth, to talk to the Restcomm platform directly. Any questions?
There's a couple of questions, but I think Matt Jordan's question was answered in text. Is that right, Jean? Or no? Somebody answered. It looks like Evelyn is.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the questions. If I missed something.
Right. Should we be repeating any of this here, because these are good?
Yeah, I think it's worth going over the questions, because there's a lot of good stuff flying past on IRC.
Why don't you DJ it, James? You're watching it and you're part of it, so please.
Oh, gosh, I'm going to have to find my glasses. No, you do it, because your eyes are younger than mine.
Well, let's get Evelyn to, because you answered Matt's question, which I'll read again, I guess, if I can find it.
Okay, I can repeat if you guys
go
want.
ahead and repeat that, would you please? Because that's a good exchange there.
So I remember two questions interesting here. One was, how is the IoT demo connected to this ABC Auto demo? And on that question, my answer was that there were two separate demos. The IoT was earlier in this call. John showed a little device, physical device with a little green button that over Wi-Fi is connected to a cloud service that takes triggers from the device, and the cloud service of the electric imp company that produces the device, they allow scripting. And so what John did is he wrote a little script that when the button is pressed and the Wi-Fi signal is sent over to the cloud service, the script is run, and it makes a call out to HTTP call out to Restcomm, which in turn sends an SMS. It did send an SMS to John's mobile phone, and he showed that on the screen. And then James started messing with him and blasted a bunch of SMS messages to John to mess up his next demo. So that was the first question, I think. The second one was from Randy about playing media files that were recorded by a person, and of course they would sound a lot better than synthesized files. And I think it's a good point. John actually yesterday was harassing people to replace the synthesized phone on our company IVR that way. So the question was, in the demo, currently the variables from the database, from the backend external service, are expanded to text, which is then played. And the question is, can this variable be expanded to a media file? My answer was, you can do that in the play. You would use the play widget to expand a variable to the address, the URL of the media file. That way it would play instead of the text in the say widget. So the only difference between the say and the play is one takes text, the other one takes media.
Right, and then the other question, and the one that was a little bit longer, is Matt Jordan was saying, last time I worked on embedded systems, most didn't have HTTP stacks built into them. Protocols were often rather device specific. So how are you guys approaching the concept of proprietary communication stacks in embedded systems, or is a REST IP what the embedded devices have to consume? And you did answer that, Jean, sorry, answered that in IRC, but since people listening to this 3 weeks from now are not watching the IRC, so whoever would like to answer that?
Jean, go ahead. I'm not sure what you answered. I missed that. Jean, are you with us?
Actually, yeah, he was. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for embedded systems that use a proprietary protocol, basically we have a way to create a gateway between this proprietary protocol and Restcomm itself. So Restcomm itself talks only SIP, a SIP protocol as a standard way, or HTTP for REST API. But basically, you can bridge to any non-standard, any proprietary protocol through a technology that we have called Gensly, which allows you to plug any protocol, be it standard or legacy or proprietary, into the platform and convert it to something else. In which case, the proprietary protocol will be converted to HTTP to talk to Restcomm or via SIP.
Okay, and I think that's us caught up. So if John's ready to continue, or whoever wants, are there any other questions since we're paused here? By the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask one. Am I muted? Yes.
Oh, you're fine, Jay.
As usual. Well, yeah, the big question that many people will be wanting to know, I guess, firing us off at Evelyn, is how much of this real-world connectivity is built into the standard Restcomm, and how much of it needs Restcomm to be embedded into somebody like a mobile network operator for it to work. So how much comes as standard in the standard product?
James, can you give me an example of what you mean by standard?
Well, we're doing things like sending SMS and possibly generating mobile calls, that sort of thing. Is all of that back end an integral part of your hosted Restcomm? And also taking it forward, there are lots of things that you can do with querying SS7 map and cap. And how much of that is available to a simple developer?
Okay, good. I got it. Understand the question now. So the answer is that a lot of the functionality is implemented in the base Restcomm distribution that's available on GitHub and open source. So everything that John is demoing today is available in that open source distribution. To connect to an SS7 network, that would actually imply that the either the SS7 network is bridged over some internet protocol over to Restcomm through SIP, or that the developer who is playing with these SS7 messages has access to the SS7 network. Maybe they're working out of the data center of the SS7 network. If that's the case, and they're actually hacking at the SS7 level, then they would use the Restcomm distribution, and then for map messages, they would plug in either the SMSC, which is also which is a different component under the MobiSense community, but it can speak SS7 map on one side, and it can connect to Restcomm on the other side. or USSD, which is this menu-driven messaging, or like ISUP to SIP bridge, which is yet another MobiSense project that deals with signaling. And then finally the media server with maybe a kind of a dialogic or some kind of media card for the media transition from SS7 to IP.
Okay, that's a pretty comprehensive answer. So what you're saying is, even though all of the functionalities there, the hosted Restcomm, as standard, doesn't have the really heavy-duty SS7 functionality. And if you want to use that, you've got to find somebody who, somebody who can give you access to the SS7 to get the really, really good stuff.
That is correct.
Yeah.
If you mean by hosted Restcomm the one that we're playing with right now, that is correct. That one is only connected through SIP ITSP.
Okay.
Vendors from that are,
and to give a sort of an example, the sort of thing that one might want to do is that when you're running an IVR, you might want to do a reverse map-based HLR lookup on the inbound numbers to find out where they're coming from, what they are. You can get quite a lot of information from that.
That's absolutely correct. There is a lot of good stuff that is not visible to ITSP interfaces. Yeah. The location of the caller, who they are,
and in order to get to that, you really need to enroll the services of a friendly mobile network operator or somebody like that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's tons of good information that only a mobile network operator or advanced virtual MNO can offer, but most ITSPs don't.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sorry, that was a little bit of an abstract question, but I think Evelyn understands where we're going.
And again, there's stuff going on in IRC that I feel should be repeated. And it was Jay Carpenter's question. He said, how much of what we're seeing is open source and how much is proprietary? And Jean said, everything is open source. So
correct.
That's the answer of that.
Yeah, but however, if you're not familiar with some of this stuff, you'll probably need to pay somebody like Telus Tech a little bit to get it set up for you.
But that's always the case with open source stuff. Oops, I lost my camera. You mentioned, I think it was you, Evelyn, who mentioned USSD. Was it?
Yes, in an answer to James.
And you guys, it might have even been you personally. You guys were on maybe a year or two ago talking about USSD, and in fact, that's kind of I find that fascinating because I never understood what it was. And of course, I've used it because everybody who's used a mobile phone eventually has to recharge their pay-as-you-go card or whatever. And so, by the way, that's a horrible technology, but somebody's got to do it. I mean, it's horrible for the user, obviously, because you have to keep typing in an answer. But my dumb question of the day is USSD, does it have anything to do with what we're talking about today in Visual Designer or not?
It does. It's not directly involved in any of the demos today, but if John closes this app and goes to the top menu of the Visual Designer, it'll show USSD as an option to begin building apps that are menu-driven.
And would you be composing these apps? Would you be putting them together with the Visual Designer or not?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't matter if we don't show that today, but it's just to be clear. In this country, for example, we have a thing called MobiCart. It's a pay-as-you-go card, and if you want to recharge it online, you have to you send an SMS to something. It sends you back a thing. Then you have to type in one and enter. It's a little laborious, but yes, thank you, James. Unstructured supplementary service data, and we did talk about it, and it's popular in developing markets, as guest 62112 says. Thank you for joining us again. Yeah, that's understandable. But the fact is, it's also in not just developing or emerging markets, but it's common here. If you want to recharge your cell, refill whatever, you top up your cell on a pay-as-you-go, you are going to be talking to USSD or through it. Anyway. Okay, enough said on that. We're going to continue with John, or are there more questions? It's kind of a pity that everything's being said in IRC, and of course nobody who's listening can see it. For those of you who are live, you should be watching IRC. That would be the VUC channel of freenode.net. You can get there by going to vuc.me/IRC. It's pretty easy just to watch on that. Okay, so let's go back to John. I can see his.
Somebody was asking about, do we do USSD in Visual Designer? Yes, we do.
And you take requests.
Well, and here, reply number one, continue to, send me the money, okay? But no, this is how we go ahead and do it. We have it set up, and if you look at it, USSD is something that does use extensively external services, like say you're topping off your card, that sort of thing. We have people who've used Restcomm to make things like they run surveys from it. They do subscriber content, that sort of thing. So we have the ability to do all that. So what I'm going to do is save this, and okay, saved without down. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and I'll go back to my voice, and I'll go back to ABC Auto. One thing to notice here too, though, is we have web trigger, and that's something that somebody's asking, about proprietary systems and so forth, everything like that. Well, you can set this up so that applications can be fired off remotely. In other words, that we've talked earlier about the Internet of Things, or you might have an external application that says, okay, once a month I want to or here you build a doctor's office application, and you might have this on a separate system, but you want to be able to go ahead and fire off an SMS message to remind a person of their dentist appointment or their doctor appointment, that sort of thing. You have the ability then to set web triggers on it that'll let it go ahead and do that for you from an external source. Okay?
So far, so good.
All right. Well, I don't want to PowerPoint anybody to death and so forth, but it's all the different modules that you have right here, and if you take a look at it, you go to our ABC Auto, and this is using PHP. What we're doing is that you take a look, it's a database with 7 tables in it, and this is what I did is that I went and for appointments, I put that in, that's it. Our car status, you look at it, it came in, and I said, oh, it's been repaired. That's where we got the $357. But everything you see here is just, it's straight, MySQL. Web developers understand it, because what's happening right now is that there's really 2 camps right now. Is that if you are an MBON or a cellular provider or a communications provider, what's happening right now is bandwidth is being commoditized, and what's happening is that to order to attract, in order to keep your customers, you're going to have to offer them applications that they want to utilize. They have to see value in that. For number one, so they stay on your network, and number two, you can drive additional revenue from your applications. We talked about USSD for things like content subscription, that sort of thing, but the real key is that you have to get the hearts and the minds of your users, because if it just comes down to pricing and not service and applications driven, what's going to be? You're just going to be on the you're just going to be driven by price on the bandwidth, which is it's not a situation you want to be in. Okay, there is 12 minutes left for the hour, and I like to know, are there any other questions or anything else somebody wants to see? I can talk for another 12 minutes, but
I don't see Carl Fife with us either for his last question. He's not in position on.
Have we got Alan Quayle on ZipDX?
We do have Alan Quayle on ZipDX.
Because if there ever was an introduction to Mr.
Wait a
Mr.
minute, let's see if
Tad,
we can Alan
John,
on
John's
the
last 2 sentences was it.
Alan. I've sent you a direct message. Of course, he may not know. He may not be on a client that makes that easy, but
Yeah, just echoing what John said there was that as the amount of revenue and the pricing for telecom services, conventional telecom services, get smaller and smaller and smaller, what we're going to see is that the main differentiator between different operators will be the services and the applications that they offer their end users. And we already see this. One of the main reasons why we've been reasonably successful over the last couple of years is we run a number of applications and services on top of our platform. And for that reason, a number of major customers have selected us over conventional operators. So is Alan there? Because this is where he gets to plug Tad.
he might be. He might be coming in. I emailed him a thing and I direct messaged it.
But anyways, telecoms applications are the way forward, and outfits like Restcomm and all the others. Of course, there are others available out there, but Restcomm, MobiSense, Telus Tech are one of the better ones out there. I'm not only just saying that because Jean and Evelyn are here. I'm just trying to get a reaction from Jean. There he is smiling. Good.
I'm trying to get Alan off of IRC. They're having too much fun arguing with Jean over French stuff, which nobody really cares about.
I was lost in Roquefort on the IRC channel, sorry. So we are devising how to make a very good French cheese application with Restcomm right now to ship cheese to you, James.
Yeah, but it won't be a very good
French.
cheese application if USSD is locked in France. How can you have a good cheese application without USSD?
Yeah, we've got Alan with us now.
Just trying to get a reaction from Jean. There he is smiling.
Hey guys.
Except that somebody's listening to the 1 minute behind.
It's Alan, you've got the time delayed me coming back.
You got to cut that.
Which nobody really cares about.
You have YouTube in another window, I think.
I was lost in Roquefort on the IRC channel, sorry. So we are devising how to make a very good French
Yeah, Alan, you have to
Turn that off.
Restcomm right now to ship cheese to you.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, it sounds like we've got a problem in the
I'm turning it off. I'm turning it off. Just hang a sec.
continuum.
got to find it first.
There you go. Sorry.
No problem. All right. So now we
I
have.
wasn't expecting to be on, and then you all pressuring me to be on.
See that your hair's all mussy.
Yeah.
You haven't been through makeup this morning, have you?
No, he wasn't in the green room, and I saw.
That's right. I'm still in my dressing gown.
Okay.
I feel sorry for the poor people on ZipGX who are missing out on everything.
They're missing out. They're missing out. James, you wanted to talk to Alan. You said he.
Well, no, I couldn't.
What was the opening?
Yeah, well, John's introduction about the importance of applications in a world where tariffs are going down and down and down was your introduction, really. This is where you come in and you sell TAD.
Exactly, and we will be demonstrating in the Telecom Application Developer Summit on 12th to 13th of November in Istanbul, and of course one of the founding sponsors of that event is Telus Tech. So we'll have Jean and Enrico there basically covering all this. We'll have a session with one of their customers, and also what we're doing, latest update, is we're changing one of the work streams. Workstream 3, which was focused on IPR. We were hoping to get at least one IPR lawyer involved, but we've not been able to do that. So what we're going to do instead is make Workstream 3 a whole series of application developer showcases. So we've got quite a few, as you would imagine, developers involved. So we're going to have a chance to be able to let each of them give pitches around some of the stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah, and we're hoping to have a whole spread of live demos now. So what started off as a simple little demo is growing day by day, and other people wanting to come and join in.
Oh, well, and I've given you an extra 10 minutes.
So you have 25 minutes for your session.
Be generous. Now, I think what we're going to do is we use that 25 minutes to actually introduce the platform, do a couple of demos, and then the same platform will be used in some of the other people's talks. But it'll be the same front end, but just demonstrating completely different applications.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, and one of the messages that's coming out of this whole process that we're going through now, developing some little demo things for Istanbul, is how quickly and easy it is, how quickly we can develop these things.
Oh yeah, it's the technology is no longer the issue. One of the challenges is the whole go-to-market, and that again is the reason for TAD Summit is focusing on the whole business and process side. Because with TAD Hack, it's all about unadulterated. It's a focus on developers, tech, creativity. And that just showed the amazing ideas. I think we're now really getting our heads around the fact that the process to create new apps, new features, new capabilities has become increasingly easy. And the challenge we have now is how to get that into the customer's hands and making money.
Yes, yeah, indeed. And then all of a sudden on John's screen, as if by cue, up pops the Restcomm App Store. Are we allowed to call it App Store? Probably not.
It doesn't matter. You're small enough. It's only once you start making money they'll come after you.
There we go, Restcomm App Store. Yeah, it's the way forward.
And that would be restcomm.com, restcomm.com.
Which is
what are we missing here? Are we calling for people to get in touch with you guys, or do we have, besides restcomm.com, you're looking for engineers? Are you trying to fire engineers? I don't know. Anything?
Well, we're looking for people to go to Istanbul to fill that hotel room that you won't be filling around there.
There you go. You should go to Istanbul. It's supposed to be one of the most beautiful places on
It's one of the most safest places in the whole of Europe.
Let's not get into that right now. Oh, yes, there's a contact form. You go to restcomm.com/contact for any questions. At this level of development, too, it's funny because if anybody's ever experienced, for example, if you had a Sony device and you had a brilliant idea, for a Sony DAT, for example, and you had this just incredible app that could talk to, but then if you tried to reach an engineer in a company that size to find out how you could get dialogues written to talk to this thing, it would be absolutely impossible. And in as much as the guests that we have are not Sony in general, you could actually, if you've got ideas that you want to work out with the Telus Tech, Mobicent people, you have them right here. You see what they look like. They're not Martians. They're not green. They're normal human beings, and you can very easily get in touch with them. And you can meet them in person. Whoever's going to be at, well, you can even meet James Bodie, who is from Mars, at Istanbul. But just in general, I think you've got to underline that we have to underline that. This is the whole beauty, and I've got the TAD Summit thing up. I think I get extra royalties for that. Sorry. We really need to underline the fact that the ability to contact these folks if you're trying to develop something is really just amazing in this day and age. It's one of the most amazing things about the Internet. Forget the things. These are people and ideas, and if you have ideas, you can talk to people. You can talk to anyone on this panel easily. Well, you wouldn't want to talk to Andy probably because he's not moving right now. But you can talk to anybody else on the panel just by going to their site. You can get a hold of James. You can get a hold from TruePhone. You can get a hold of anyone here and develop your products or your projects or just learn more about it or write a book, whatever you're going to do. Now Andy's a little irritated with me because he's moving his mouth like a frog. But I just wanted to say, contact, reach out. That's what this is about. That's what the VUC is about, and that's what this session was about. John, you are the guest of honor, so do you have anything further you want to show us besides, whoops, you had the mirror screen there. Oh, and he's got the Istanbul event as well.
No, in my old age, I never miss an opportunity now to be quiet. But I would like to thank everybody on the behalf of Telus Tech for being on this call. If you need any more information, www.restcomm, R-E-S-T-O-C-C-O-M, www.restcomm.com, or for the latest developments, go to www.telestack.com and go see our blog. I really do appreciate everybody dialing in, and I want to thank the VUC for letting us have this presentation today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys, and I hope we'll be talking to you real soon. Remember Istanbul, remember TAD Summit, and then there'll be a TAD Hack pretty soon, I hope, too, next year. We'll go ahead and take it out as soon as I find. Here it is. Okay, you've been listening to 910-875-64. Hey, that was the bleeding edge of the IP communications and VoIP community. We're at vuc.me on the web. Thanks to simwood.com, who can turn you as a developer into a telco. Our hosted PBX is provided by onsip.com. The site at vuc.me is on bluehost.com. We use zipdx.com for our wideband, full-featured conference bridge. And our local rate dial-ins are from voxbone.com. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. See you next week.